Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jackie. I hope you hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Hello, another month has gone by. How fast did this year go? I just can't believe that. So it is that time of month again where I share with you all the books that I read in November, and this is just going to be a little chatty video of everything that I read. I had a very ambitious TBR for November. I think I had 15 books on there. Sadly, I didn't read all of them. Like, I knew I wasn't gonna get to them, but I did pretty good with my TBR. I did stick with the books that I wanted to read, so that is good. I did read 10 books in November though, so I think that is pretty good, pretty average for me. I don't know what happened the last couple months where I was reading 15, 20 books, but I usually stick between 8 to 10, I feel like, a month. Like, I'm a really fast reader. I can really get through books. But I don't know what happened in those 2 months. You can check out those videos down below if you want to see me recap all the books that I read. And also, since it's almost the end of the year, maybe I'll do a recap video of all books that I read this year. I think I've read over 100. So I could either do that or my top favorites. I don't know. Let me know what you want to see end of the year book wise. If you want me to just tell you every single book that I read, or do you want me to rank all the books that I read, or do you want to just see my favorite books that I read in 2023? So please leave your comments. I'd love to know. So this month I read 10 books. So I read 7 physical books and I think 3 Kindle books. Am I doing my math correctly? I think so. So I read 10 in total. 7, 3. Yes. I only can do girl math. I really can't do actual math. I usually have my iPad here with me, but I didn't take very good notes this month. Even though I only read 10 books, I did not take very good notes, but I do have a list on my phone of all the books that I read, or else I wouldn't be able to tell you what I read this month. So now that I have my list pulled up, I have the books here beside me. Let's just get on and chat about the books that I read in November. Grab yourself a beverage of choice. I do not have my water with me today, which is sad. It's out in the living room. So let's chat about all the books that I read in November, shall we? The first book that I have here is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Actually, when I filmed my November TBR video, I actually had just finished this book, so I was saying that I was looking forward to reading it. Well, I actually had just read it the night before, I finished it, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars like I did with Icebreaker. It is about Russ and Aurora. I was gonna say Hannah there. Russ and Aurora, and it was really cute. They went to a summer camp and they're from the same college, but they only ran into each other at a party. Things went down and they didn't know each other essentially, and then they go to summer camp. They're both camp counselors. They're not little kids at summer camp, but don't worry. But it was really cute. I really enjoyed reading it. It was super spicy as well. So yeah, the cartoon cover will fool you, but I was expecting it because I read Icebreaker, so it was pretty good. I did give it a 4-star rating, and I am looking forward to the 3rd book. I know it was just announced that there is going to be a 3rd book, Henry's book, and the cover of that one looks so good. So definitely going to be continuing this series, and it's one of my most anticipated reads for 2024, which again is another video I should do of what I want to read in 2024 and all the book releases. So let me know if you want to see that as well. So Wildfire was the first thing I picked up in November, and then the second is the Caraval trilogy. I read the whole entire series. I just released my reading vlog about it, so that just went live before this video. So yeah, I read it. I enjoyed it. You can see all of my thoughts, my full breakdown of that whole thing, which I will link that reading vlog down below. But let's take them out of the box set. Firstly, we have Caraval, and this was so good. I gave it a 4.5. It is about Scarlett, who always writes to this guy named Legend. He does this like once a year carnival where it's like special and it's like full of magic and fun. It was a great fantasy series, like the twists of it, everything about it. There's like mystery and I just loved it. So Caraval was pretty good. I read Legendary, again gave it a 4.5. This is about Tella, so Scarlet's sister. She has her own version of Caraval. She plays the game the second time and it has like more twists and more mystery in this one, I feel like, and I really enjoyed it. I've said in my reading vlog that I did enjoy this one a little bit better. And now that time has passed, I do think I remember more of Legendary than I do of Caraval. So yeah, I think this one is my favorite out of the series. Some people don't like it, some people love it. I don't know. That was just my opinion, so those two. And then lastly, of course, is Finale. I had to end it off. I loved reading this series back to back. It was so good. This one didn't have like the game in it, the Caraval game. It just wrapped up the loose ends from Caraval and then Legendary, so it didn't have that aspect, which I kind of missed a little bit, but you like wrap everything up, you discover more things about the characters, and it like was nicely done. I liked how it like recapped everything and it was just like finished with a tight little bow, and like I loved it. The whole series definitely was a 5-star series for me. I'm going to think about this series so much and I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite fantasy series that I picked up this year and I'm glad I read it. Speaking of fantasy series, I read another one this month. This is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I mean, pretty much did everyone read this book in November? Like, it came out and I picked it up straight away. Like, I was in the middle of the Caraval series, but I'm like, I want to start this. So I started like the first 2 chapters and then I put it down. It did take me a long time to like read this book for some reason. It doesn't seem that chunky, but I don't know, for some reason it took me forever to read, but I got done in the end. My personal rating, I gave it a 4.5. I think I did rate it 5 stars on Goodreads, but it's a 4.5 for me because the political aspect, and there was like some a little bit like boring parts, so I was like, but I pushed through, finished it, I loved it. That ending, I did do a reading vlog on this, which I don't know when it will be out, but I did do a reading vlog about this book and reading it and like a few of my reactions to this, but I love this book. Again, the dragons with this, they're my favorite. Tyrion, the dragon, I love him. I love him so much. He's my favorite character. Like, I love the dragons and their personalities, and this was very good. And thankfully, I did not get spoiled. I have been seeing spoilers on my TikTok, but thankfully I was done with it before I got spoilers. So I'm really grateful that I didn't get spoiled for the ending, because the ending is wild, and now I'm sad that I have to wait so long before like I find out what happens to the characters and everything in this book, and it's going to be like a long series probably, and I kind of regret a teeny tiny bit that I didn't wait to read this series, but then again I'm like, I love the book so much, I don't regret like having to wait a long time for the next one. So yeah, I just love this book. So after I read Iron Flame, I had to like, I just didn't want to have a book hangover and have that be the last book that I read this month. So I picked up my Kindle and I had some Kindle Unlimited books that I wanted to get through. So the first one is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. So this one was pretty good. It was a Lion King retelling, I guess, or whatever, reimagining, whatever you call this series. Like, it was pretty good. It's the second book. I did like the first book more than this one, but I still enjoyed it. It was 4 stars for me. I love the characters. Super spicy, super dark. So if you like those kind of books, this is great. I mean, I found it okay. Like, I just read it and I needed like a palette cleanser. I needed a palette cleanser. I guess is what you say. So, a pretty good book. Next book was a most anticipated read for me this month. It is the final book in the Cottonwood Cove series, which is After the Storm by Laura Pavlov. And it was a nice wrap up to the end of the series. So this was the fifth and final book, and it wrapped it up pretty nicely. So I was excited about this because this brother, so there's like the Reynolds siblings, and each one got like a different book. So this was about the eldest brother, and he was like a cowboy, but he turned into like the local veterinarian. He's a single dad and he loves his daughter with all his heart, and it's second chance romance. So they used to be friends in high school, and it was just super cute, like everything. And then of course you have all the other Reynolds siblings and then their relationships dusted in there, which was quite fun. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know what my ranking for this series is going to be. Like, I did enjoy this book. I love the nicknames that they gave each other, all like the things that they did in this book. So After the Storm was a 4-star book for me. Really enjoyed it. Really loved the whole entire series as a whole. It was really great to get through this year. The next Kindle Unlimited book that I read was Wild at Heart by K.A. Tucker. And when I tell you, this book series has moved up to my all-time favorite book series that I've read, and I haven't read the last 2 books in this, but this series, so the first book, The Simple Wild, I read it in one sitting. I did not go to bed. I just binged it, and I had a feeling I was going to do it with this one as well. So I kept my whole entire weekend free, and I was like, if I end up like messing up my sleep schedule for this book, I will. And again, yeah, I did not mess up my sleep schedule, thankfully, though, with this book, but I still binged it. So Wild at Heart is a continuation of The Simple Wild. So unlike Cottonwood Cove, you got like these stories of each sibling. So like it wraps it up and like you'll move on to the next character. This series follows the same characters, so Jonah and Kala, and you follow their story from a few weeks after The Simple Wild ends. So you move on to their lives and like the complications, and it just felt like a warm hug reading this. It was so comforting. Like, I really felt like I was in this universe with them. Like, I cannot describe it. Like, some people like have that series that it's just their comfort. This series for me has been my comfort. Like, I cannot explain to you how much I love it. I am going to be finishing the series. I was going to pick up the 3rd book, which is like a novella of what happens at the end of Wild at Heart, but it's a Christmas book, I hear, and next month is Christmas, so I'm gonna totally like, it was the perfect time to read it, so I'm gonna read that series so much. If you haven't picked it up, please do. I'm gonna make this series my whole entire personality because it's just my favorite. I thought I had a favorite book. This right here, or like this series, is going to be my favorite book. 5-star books, and definitely I think my favorite book that I read this month. I read a lot of books that I really enjoyed this month. Honestly, it was a great reading month. So I read 3 romance books back to back on my Kindle, and I'm like, I need to read like my physical books again. So I picked up Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Like everyone else this month, I think a lot of people picked this up after Iron Flame, but I wanted to like break it up. I didn't want to go straight into this just in case like I wouldn't enjoy it as much as like Iron Flame. So thankfully I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4.5. It was like angsty, and like I haven't read The Hunger Games, so I cannot like judge it based on that. So like I heard it was like The Hunger Games-esque, and like it was like inspired by that or something. I'm not really sure, but I love the characters, the angst, the romanticiness in this, the magic, everything. It was a fun book, and that ending, again, what are these books and these endings this year? I've read so many books and I'm like, really, you're gonna leave me off on a cliffhanger and not have the next book right next to me? Like, I don't know how many books this year I went through and I'm like, no. So this was again one of them. Can't wait to read the second book whenever it's coming out. I know it's going to be released sometime in 2024, so I'm gonna pick that up. Pretty good. It is definitely worth the hype. That's the only reason why I started reading it this month, and I'm so glad I did because I enjoyed it so much. And then picked up this A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'm in my romantasy era. I love it. So this actually was a book that I read in August. I picked up this book because it was the book club we have here in my like apartment complex. Like there's like a few of us who love reading. We chose this as our book, but everyone unfortunately got busy and we couldn't finish it, so we were free to read it on our own, and I finally got time to pick it up this month. So I did, and I loved it. I gave it a 5-star on Goodreads, but it's definitely a 4.5 looking at it now. So I started reading this the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I wasn't doing much, and I was pretty much done with like a lot of the books. So I'm like, let me just pick this up again. I have 50% left, and the last 50% really went by real quick. I feel like I really enjoyed it. Like this is like my first introduction to like the fae and all of that, and then since then I've read I think 2 other books that have fae, but I'm excited to like continue the rest of the series. I understand now why it's so hyped up again. I did enjoy it. It really like pulled me in, and I'm like, this is a good book. That was technically the last book that I read in November, but I guess I'll mention to you what I'm currently reading. Usually I can read all the way up till the end of the month and I'll like finish the book. I'll force myself to finish so it doesn't carry over to the next month. But I didn't do that this month, so I'm actually in the middle of another book series, and I think you can guess what it is, so please see if you can guess, okay? Did you guess? It is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber, so the spin-off series to Caraval. I wanted to read it this month, and I technically am. I did pick it up, I just haven't finished it. I have no idea how much I am through. I'm like 25% of the way. Technically, this is the last book that I read in November. And there you have it. That is all 10 books that I read in the month of November. Pretty good. A lot of romance fantasy. I love this genre. Who knew I would? I think I've dabbled more into it this year than last year, but definitely I'm loving it. I'm glad that I trusted TikTok's recommendations because I am enjoying everything so much. So those are all the books. I'll make sure to link all of them down below in the description, as well as my book talk and my bookstagram. My TikTok and Instagram are always linked down below. I will be linking all the videos that I mentioned down below, and please give me your suggestions for more book content. I'm definitely planning a lot more book content for December because as you're watching this, it is December 1st, and that means that I have officially begun Vlogmas 2023. I do a certain kind of Vlogmas here on my YouTube channel. I've been doing it. This is my 8th year in a row doing it. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's every other day, sometimes it's weekly. I don't know what this year's will be because I haven't filmed it as I'm filming this, but I'll just have to see where everything takes me. So come back tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 1. I will be uploading my video that I will be filming on December 1st. It will be going up December 2nd, if that makes sense. So there will be a lot of like book content this year and like my daily life, some festive fun. Like I do a lot of fun things here on my channel. So make sure you're subscribed to see me all 25 days. I'm not sure if I'm doing it daily. Don't hold me to that. But I will try my best to put out a lot of videos to the lead up to Christmas like I do every year. So yeah, just wanted to mention that if you're watching this as this goes up. tomorrow, Vlogmas Day 1 2023 will be out, so I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited to share things with you. So yeah, I can't wait. I do hope you enjoy watching what I read in November, my reviews, and my ratings for each. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye everyone! I feel like this month's stack isn't gonna be too difficult to lift up. I say that now and then they're gonna slip away, so there we go. Quite easier this month to lift 7 books instead of 20 like I did last month. Now, can I put them down so I can film the TikTok portion? I did drop one. How did I drop 1 book out of 7?